Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Tim Meyer, here for the Romeo Sports Recap, powered by the Mitt TV. Remember, this show is available on both YouTube and Spotify. And before we begin, a word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and can even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvpodcast@gmail.com. That's mitt.tvpodcast@gmail.com. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Romeo Sports Recap Show. I'm Tim Meyer, along with varsity tennis coach, boys tennis coach, and girls tennis coach, Matt Burr. And Matt, thanks for coming on the show today.
Always a pleasure, Tim.
Matt, tell us, last year's team, you had a pretty successful season. I remember talking to you after, and you had a lot of high hopes, and you felt pretty confident about this year's team. How'd they compare this year's team to last year?
This year's team, I think, was even better than last year's team. I think this may have been the best team I've ever had. We've got talent, from one singles all the way down to six doubles on it.
What was the strength of the?
I think our strength was we didn't have any weaknesses. Every flight was competitive. And when we played our matches, sometimes it was our singles that would pull out the big matches, and in other matches, sometimes it was our doubles that would pull out the matches.
Okay.
So some teams have some weak flights, so you're going to beat them in there, or they know they're not going to win. With us, every one of our flights is capable of winning, just because we're well balanced.
Now, what do you think, was their formula for success? Did they work hard? Are they great servers? Are they great volleyers? I mean, what in your opinion was the formula for success?
I think it's the effort they put in, especially in the off season. This is the second summer in a row that they put a lot of effort going out, practicing every day, and getting ready. So we have good leadership on the team. We have three good captains, and even some of the other guys are really, they encourage each other to go out and hit. So we had a lot of practice in the off season, and a lot of times they just went out on their own and played.
Like how many balls do they, when they practice? I mean, first off, how many, when they're practicing with balls and stuff, do you practice hitting it up against the wall, or do you practice just live tennis all the time?
We do have a little wall there, but no, they're going out with buddies and they're hitting. I mean, one of the reasons we're so good is because they all like each other. And they have fun playing with each other.
Yeah.
And we definitely have a lot of carts of balls
to
hit, and that is the key to tennis success: is how many times you actually hit the ball.
Yeah. I don't know if I told you this before, but when I first went out in high school and in gym class, and we had tennis class, and we went out, I was, this ought to be easy. Baseball player should be able to hit the.
Sure.
I could not get over. It took me a long time to get used to that racket being an extension of my arm. And it was just it was pretty wild, but I eventually got it, and I actually enjoyed the game when I was up in college, just recreationally. But plus there was a lot of cute girls that were playing in college, and so I thought that might be on my way, but. I guess I sweat too much or whatever. Anyway, let's talk about this year's season and how you guys started out. And you had the start out with Oxford, Armada, and St. Clair. First three.
We had three
games, and boom, you socked it to them.
Yeah, those were tune-up games to get our guys confident, get their strokes and their serves going. So. It's just good to start off with some teams that you can easily match up with.
Port Huron Northern Quad, that was not just Port Huron Northern, there was other teams there?
Yeah, Port Huron Northern was the main team there. Sandusky was there, and I have forgotten the other team.
Well, I know where Sandusky is.
It wasn't a very good team.
Okay, whatever.
So it was a team that we had no problem with.
So you guys are
It
doing
was
some.
Yale.
Oh
So it
yeah.
was a team that we
Yeah.
don't usually play, but
Yeah, well,
and not the
I didn't
university.
even know they played tennis up in Yale. I thought they're good farmers, but
With yeah,
but I don't think
that
they
was
play tennis. So here you go. Now you come back. You're playing against De La Salle, and usually a pretty strong team. Is that the way I'm reading it?
they have been. I mean, they are a strong team, but we are just gelling um, on all cylinders at that point. That was during the Liggett
Mm-hmm.
turn
Well, you had
quad,
Liggett next, and you tied Liggett.
and that's our first good result we've ever had on against their
It,
boys.
uh, is that like their sport at Liggett?
Yeah, for boys, yeah, they've won multiple state
Yeah.
championships.
I,
They're currently ranked the second best team in Division Four right now.
and then it looks like you had no problem with Grosse Ile.
Grosse a very good team, very good team. We had some really good matches against them, so the score is really not indicate how good they are.
And there's Grosse Pointe South, another win.
That's the first time we've ever beaten Grosse Pointe South in boys,
Yeah.
and that was their first conference loss in 10 years.
You had a loss earlier the day before against Rochester Adams. What made them so good?
They're one of the top teams in the state.
Yeah.
They've just got good players, and those players live at Lifetime Fitness, so they're playing every day in the winter,
Oh man.
and it's really hard to compete with a team like that. But we did really good. We had 3 matches that went 3 sets, and we were able to take them at 4 dubs.
And you kind of had a little bit of a tough streak there. You went to the Allegan Quad
We won that.
and you won that, and then you had a little bit of a tough streak with the Grosse Pointe North and Bloomfield Hills and Rochester.
Grosse Pointe North, that was for the conference championship. If we had won that or tied that, we would have been conference champions for the first time, and North was just ready for us.
Yeah.
And they beat
It
us.
was close, 5-3 or
It
something.
was very close. We could have easily won it. It was back and forth, and we just missed out. North performed really well that day. Bloomfield Hills, defending state champions and probably repeat state champions, so just playing them is an honor. And Rochester is another top level team.
And but then you bounce back, beat Lance Cruz North pretty handily, and then a big one, you beat Eisenhower,
It's
and
always
that's 2 in a
fun.
row, and so that had to feel pretty good,
It's always good beating Eisenhower 8-0.
especially skunking them.
Yeah.
The Brother Rice Quad, how did that go?
We played really well. Brother Rice is the number 4 team in the state. Stony Creek is one of the top teams in the state. And Upper Skyline's 10th in the state. So to get 6 wins during that time is really a testament to how good our players were doing. And we also had some really tight 3-set matches in that.
And yeah, Berkeley and Lake Orion.
Yep, 2 very good teams.
2 good teams in the Oakland A and Oakland County, and then a pretty good team up at Clarkston that you guys played. And
Yeah, they were very good. Last year we tied them, and this year they got the best of us. So
and then finished out the season with the win over Utica, pretty handily. 8-0 was a good win.
Yep.
Going into the regionals, let's talk about the regionals. What kind of happened there?
You know, so if you remember last year, we finished second in the regional, behind Stony Creek.
Mm-hmm.
And we pretty much assumed the whole year that the same thing was going to happen. But what happened is the MHSA changed the whole regional system. They cut down, they went from 8 regionals to 6. They took out just about all the Macomb County teams that we had in it, and they added all the powerhouse Oakland County teams.
Why did they do that? Do you know?
I don't think they liked Romeo at States. But seriously, it's a situation. Well, first, a lot of the coaches didn't agree with MHSA doing that because why do you want to limit players going to state? But From the state's viewpoint, there's less teams playing, particularly in the Division three and Division four levels. So they wanted to um, limit how many teams were going to states. And fortunately, they should have just concentrated on Division three, Division four, but I guess they did. We're going to do the same thing for all divisions.
Yeah.
So Division one, they had all the top teams. There's a lot of good teams that won't go to states this year because of it.
Yeah.
So Rochester Adams came in, Rochester came in. Those were both top 10 teams in the states last year. We had Stony Creek that stayed in. Port Huron Northern, Ike stayed in. Lake Orion came in. Grand Blanc came in. So it was extremely challenging. But
Character building.
Well, you know what? We still had our opportunities.
Yeah. Okay.
So if we had played as good as we are capable of playing, we could have had a chance to qualify this year. Unfortunately, we we had some things going against us, and some of the other teams, particularly Rochester and Lake Orion, played some of their best matches of the year. In fact, Rochester's one beat Stony Creek's one in a huge upset at the one singles. So
what
good teams went.
I hear there's a good player at Stony Creek.
Yes.
All-stater.
Yeah, but he's the one that lost to Rochester in the upset.
That's what I was wondering if that's what you were alluding to.
Yeah.
That he was the one that lost to him. The kids told me earlier about this kid. He's pretty good. So, well, it's just sounds like a hair and a little bit of luck, and
yeah,
would have been there. Some of the players, you've got players on the team. We've got a few of them that we're going to talk to shortly, but let's talk about some of those players, and we'll start with one of the players we'll talk to a little bit later, Austin Habich, senior captain. You got him winning over 56 single wins. What makes him so good, so special?
Just the hard work and the determination and the competitiveness that he shows. I mean, he started off, the minute he started playing in middle school, he was very competitive. He just liked the competitive aspect of tennis, and he just worked on his game. He also looked at other players, some of the senior players or older players than him, and kind of looked at their game and tried to learn from them. And I think he's probably been my best overall player since I've been coaching. He has 74 wins in his career, which is second only to his old doubles partner Bennett Hall. But he's got the most singles wins in Romeo history at 56, which is amazing.
You have a Lennox Patica?
He is our freshman.
And what is his potential? You must see some potential in that.
He's the best freshman we've ever had. Uh-huh. He's ready to go, and it's really hard to be a freshman and play singles, especially high level. He's a guy that's been playing tournaments in the state. He's been ranked in the top 25 in his age category.
What makes him so good? What's so good about his game?
He is just determined to become a top level tennis player.
Is it he covered the court really well? Or is that
he does? He's really good. His ground strokes, and he's got a lot of power, and he's just got a lot of tenacity. And with experience, I think he's just going to be one of the best players in the region, and when he's a junior and senior.
And you have another player, a senior again, Angelo Bugli, and he racked up a few wins too for you over the years. Yes,
Angelo with Austin and Brandon are kind of the heart and soul of the team. I mean, Angelo was with me in middle school, and he's been one of those players that all the other players gravitate around. He's one of those guys that gets people out there and does stuff.
Fires them up a little bit.
Yep, and he actually ended his career with 70 wins, which puts him as the third most wins in Romeo history, at least the history that we have records of.
Right.
But it's pretty solid. 70 wins is a lot of wins for your career.
Is a lot of wins. I mean, Brandon Appill, senior captain, and he's Brandon you're talking about is one of the heart and soul of the team.
He's a great young man. He's been with us as since a freshman. So all three of these captains have been on varsity since their freshman year. So that's 12 years of varsity experience that we're losing from next year's season. But Brandon, he's been a great year. I think he's got 55 total wins, which puts him at fifth most wins in Romeo history.
With records that he kept.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gavin Habich is and Connor McGrath. They're both sophomores. This is a doubles team.
They are, and it's incredible to have two young players like that at one dubs because most of the teams they played all year were seniors and guys that have played together for years. And this was Gavin and Connor's first year playing together. Connor was on JV last year. Gavin was our four singles player, so he didn't even play doubles last year. So it was.
So what makes a good doubles team? I mean, what do you look for in guys when they're teamed together and to make a good doubles team?
I mean, there's three types of players. There's all court players, those that can play from the backcourt and the front. Backcourt players that are great from the back, and then net monsters that are just dominant the net.
Yeah.
And when you have a net dominant player, you got to kind of fix them up with a backcourt guy that gets all the backcourt. Well, Gavin and Connor are all court players. They're great from the backcourt and they're great at the net. So they kind of naturally fit.
Well, yeah, and you have another doubles team, your second doubles team, Cooper Shornack and Jaron Habich. Cooper's a junior and Jaron's a sophomore, right?
Yeah, they actually played together last year, so they had good experience going, and it could really.
They develop a chemistry, right?
They do, yeah. It was mostly a good chemistry, and because of that, they led the team this year with 21 wins. So they had a really good season.
Yeah, your third doubles team, Ben Hodges and Drew Roth, a senior and a junior, played a little bit. I think Drew's a hockey player as well.
He is definitely a hockey player, and tennis is a side sport for him.
As long as he doesn't hit it into the net all the time, like hockey.
he definitely hits it over the net. So they actually played together 2 years ago as a team. So they were kind of put back together again, and they had a solid year. They had some good wins. They had a big win against Clarkston.
And Jack Gilliard and Henry Terrian.
Those two both were on JV last year, and I would say those were the two that improved most over the summer. They both worked on their game a lot, and that's why they made varsity this year, and they played pretty good as a team this year. They had big wins over Rochester Adams and Rochester.
And you have a lacrosse player on here, Cormac Young. And he's partnered with Dominic Carpenter.
Yeah.
Both of them are juniors. Any potential there to break into the top?
Well, actually, they were in the top line last year, and just the combination of players they kind of were at fifth doubles this year. Those are both net monsters, and the combination with them wasn't quite with them this year.
Mm-hmm.
If they work on their backcourt game and become a little bit more all court, they'll have fantastic seasons next year.
I mean, looks like you have some juniors that are coming back next year. You could pair some of these guys with too.
We have a lot of talent.
Yeah,
coming back.
And you have Drew Blankenship and Nolan Blankertz, junior and a sophomore.
Yep.
Saw a little action.
Yep, both JV last year. Both did had great seasons this year, and they had actually more wins than that was them together 4-1. But I think Drew had 8 wins and Nolan had 11 wins playing with different partners. Sometimes we switch them up, especially at that end of the bench, and for subbing. And Nolan actually filled in at 2 or 3 or at two singles this year, which was kind of tough for him, but he did really good. He competed really hard.
Yeah, filled in, and it's always great to get in there and play on your own a little bit too. How do you feel about next year's team?
Well,
for the boys,
we're losing a lot of varsity years, but we got four guys there at 5 and 6 doubles that can jump up. Our JV team was best in the conference for the second straight year, so we got a lot of talent um, coming up. So I'm really excited. It's going to be a dogfight. So we've got 5 open
And
positions on.
are they going to do the same thing in the regionals that they did this year, or the MHSAA?
Yeah, this looks like a permanent
Okay,
a
so
permanent situation. They came out with these new rules. It's going to be based on the total numbers of teams in the state. If it goes below that, it will be the 6 regionals, and if it goes up, it's very unlikely that it will. It's going to stay like this. The girls are above the threshold, so it's going to be the old regional system.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, we'll be talking to you about the girls, though.
Yeah.
Come this spring, and hopefully you have them in shape to compete again. You had a great year last year with the girls.
Well, you had 5 of them in here when you interviewed the volleyball girls.
Scary, and it found out that Jade, well, I found out her mother and her father are good friends of mine. I didn't connect it, but yeah, she was a good player. Well, she's out at Lawrence Tech now, right?
She's at Lawrence Tech. I'm hoping to go watch her play this year. That'll be really exciting.
She's a nice young lady. Well, tell you what, we're going to talk to some of the players. Well, you brought all family here, so the 3 brothers, the band of brothers, we're going to talk to right after this. Before we continue, here on the Romeo Sports Recap Show, a word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and can even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvpodcast@gmail.com. That's mitt.tvpodcast@gmail.com. Now back to the show. Hey, welcome back to the Romeo Sports Recap. I'm here with Austin Hubbock and his brother Gavin Hubbock and his youngest brother Jaron Hubbock. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the show. The Romeo varsity tennis team is well represented here. First off, tell me a little bit about your season and what accomplishments you had this year, and I'll start with you, Austin, because you're the oldest.
So this year I was playing the one singles. I knew maybe this day would come where I'd play this position, and coming into the season, I knew what kind of to expect. I was hoping this wouldn't be the case, but unfortunately, this was the worst record I've ever had, being on the team. And
why do you think that was?
Because even though I've gotten better each season, just the level of one singles is just so much higher than any other flight in comparison that it was really hard to compete this year, especially with the schedule that we had this year. We played multiple top 10 teams this year, and I'm very happy with how I played this year, but it was really hard to take a lot of losses.
Okay. Gavin, how about you?
This year was definitely interesting because, last year I was 4 singles. I'd say I had a pretty good year. And then this year I was playing doubles with Connor, who happens to be our next door neighbor. So it's definitely interesting. We can get some rides with him. But it was fun competing with Jaron, who's like 2 doubles, and his partner Cooper. It was fun on the court and off the court, getting food sometimes, practicing before the season, like in March or April. And we definitely had some good wins against like Liggett. So it was fun this year.
Yeah, they're good side. How about you, Jaron? What makes it fun for you? What happened with you this season?
Oh yeah, so I was partners with Cooper this year at 2 doubles, and it was cool because last year we were at 2 doubles again. So it's like the chemistry this year really helped with all like the tough opponents that we had to play, and then we got some really good wins this year too, like against Rochester, Stony, like Lake Orion, so I had a lot of fun. And like what Gavin was saying, just with like in practice, like the competitiveness with me and Cooper versus Gavin and Connor, I think it really just like pushed us to like work even harder and play hard. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And speaking of a lot of fun, when you guys all play, who dominates?
Big brother.
Yeah, good.
Right now.
Does it make you better? Does it feel makes you better when you play him, or
Yeah,
you just get mad
it
when I throw
does.
your
Because,
racket out?
every like skill level, you kind of either like play up or play down. So you have to hit the ball harder and try and get more precision on your shots against Austin.
And you
Yeah, it
just
just like
stand out
pushes
there.
you harder.
Yeah.
It makes you want to win more when like you lose to him, you know.
What's your best shot?
Um, I'd say probably my forehand. It's always been more of like a strength. Cross court forehands are big too. Any cross court, especially this year, like away from the net guy, especially if you have like a deep cross court forehand, you can kind of push up to net, and then you have two people at net, which makes it hard for them. Also, if it's open, like a backhand baseline, if they're trying to poach a little at net. So it's definitely fun, like
What about
choosing with
what about
one.
you, Austin?
I would say my best aspect of my game is definitely when I'm at net. If I can get to the net, I usually thrive there. I win a lot of. I'm
Well, you're a
very
pretty tall guy, so you
yeah
probably cover a lot of ground. I mean, the span and area that you can defend doesn't
yeah
give the opponent a lot of room.
yeah exactly. That's what makes me very good at net, and probably my best attribute is because of that wingspan. That helps me to reach a lot of extra balls where it might go down the line or cross court where it's like very hard to reach. Where that extra 3 inches really comes in handy.
When opponents see that, do they then try to lob over you?
Yes, a lot of opponents I would say lobbed. I would say with the better opponents that played this season, they try to just hammer it though. They try to just hit it harder
Try to get it
and
through
try to
you.
even get like an even more of an angle, which
Yeah.
a lot of the time it definitely did work because they practiced that shot multiple times. But
Yeah.
I definitely made them work for it. It wasn't given.
How about you, Jaron? What's your best shot?
I feel like my best shot is like when I'm back and then I just like hammer it away back at the other guy that's at cross court on the other team. It's like I'd say I'm really good at ground strokes, and this year it really helped with me being good at the back. Like I would hit a deep cross court shot and then I'd set up Cooper at the net for like an alley oop, and then you get a winner off that. And then also like I like hitting down the line shots too when like they least expect it. When I see like when they're out of position, I hit it down the line and sometimes get a winner, and that just like feels really good.
Like, who used to hit it down the line? The pro player that really, really good at hitting it down the line. Um, I think he won Wimbledon a couple of
Djokovic.
times. Yeah, maybe that's him.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how you can hit it down the line and it doesn't go out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You guys put you put like a top spin on your.
Yeah, you get a top
Yeah.
spin on it.
I
Yeah,
hate
that's the
that.
that yeah
I
that's
hate
the
guys that do that.
Yeah, that's the trick to getting balls deeper is that if you get more spin on it, you can hit the ball harder and it will eventually with the spin, the more spin you get, the more it'll drop. So you can get deeper in the court and it'll drop like deeper into the court, which is a strategy. You want to keep hitting the ball deeper to keep pushing the opponent back so you can keep pushing up.
You hit top spin too as well,
Yeah, I do.
Gavin.
Sometimes you might have a slice shot too, which is like backspin. So they have to run even farther. So like topspin, you want to push them back, and backspin, you want to draw them closer.
What about touch shots? You know, when you're at the net or little touch shots, he's back and at the back line, you sort of try to dink it over or anything. I mean, is that something you can do or want to do or?
Yeah, so like sometimes you could like fake pound it when they're deep back and then you just do a nice like toss shot there.
Yeah.
And they have to run all the way back up and then you'll get a winner.
For me this season, I definitely saw opportunities for that, but unfortunately, I tried to practice my touch throughout the season, but unfortunately when it came to matches, my touch just wasn't really there to where I would try to hit those, but unfortunately it was just a little bit off to where it would hit the white part, the net cord, and just barely not make it over, or it was just a little too long to where the opponent could get it and get too easy of a shot like down the line or cross court. So I really struggled with the touch with that shot.
What would you say is the toughest shot in tennis to master?
The tweener, no doubt.
Yeah.
The tweener is pretty much where you're at net and someone lobs it over you and you're like scrambling to get back, and what you do is you're still looking at the ball, you're looking the opposite of the tennis court, and you hit the ball behind, like in between your legs. That's the hardest shot.
I'd be afraid to hurt myself.
Fun fact, I actually, the opponent I played at regionals, Ben from Lake Orion, I lobbed him and it was a great lob, but he hit that on me. He hit one of those tweeners. Fortunately, I was still on the point, but it was very impressive to see him hit that difficulty of a shot.
Man, that's a tough shot for me to take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't run anymore anyway, but still. How about you, Jaron? Toughest shot.
I would like say like when someone like lobs it to you, not like the tweener, but just like hitting it back, trying to lob it over the net guy, is like, and most of the time when we play, it's like windy too, so you have to get like the perfect shot to like get it over the net guy, and then try and like keep the point lasting, and then eventually try and win it.
Playing indoors. You play indoors at all, or?
No, because we usually have basketball during the winter. Therefore, we don't usually play tennis in the winter when you need to play indoors.
Yeah. I think you could do it indoors.
Well, the only time that we have played indoors, got exposure to that, was last year at States. It was at the Dow Center,
Midland.
yeah, Midland, Michigan, and that was a really cool experience. They actually host a minor WTA tennis tournament there for the women's league, so it's a very impressive facility. But playing inside, it was a really cool experience. I thought, at least for me, I thought I played really well there. I personally like it because you don't have to worry about any of the outside conditions like rain, wind. Wind for me, I really don't prefer playing with wind, so it was a nice break.
I say it's got to be tough. I mean, we got the wind out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's, the wind affects all outdoor sports a little bit, from soccer to football. And so I imagine tennis is even more difficult, trying to, you get the ball moving and the wind's taking it and trying to size it up and hit it,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys like to do when you're not playing tennis, Gavin?
You want to take advantage of what you like to do, whether it's, relaxing or going on bike rides with the family. During the winter, it's definitely basketball. And then on the weekends, like NFL football or like church. So I just like to take advantage of things that you can't really do during the season.
No girlfriends or nothing? Or?
No, not yet.
So you won't be saying hi to any of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. You take advantage of your downtime.
Yeah.
How about you, Austin?
For me, I love working out, lifting weights. That's been one of my hobbies since 10th grade.
Has it helped you with your game?
I would say it hasn't really helped me in tennis because I don't train specific movements in tennis. I just train for aesthetics and for basketball because you use more of those muscles for basketball. But I just really enjoy doing that. I enjoy seeing my friends, especially over the summer. I saw my friends a lot. I also really enjoy going to church, getting closer with the Lord. I really enjoy doing that as well. That's a lot of the time how I spend my time, and those are my hobbies outside of tennis.
That's good. That'll keep you out of trouble most times. But you, Jaron, are the youngest, so you're working on your studies pretty hard, right? Is that what you do in your spare time?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I love watching sports, whether it's just anything, because like it just keeps me like, I like watching competitive stuff, and especially like football, like Michigan State. They're my favorite team, so I just love watching them. And then also like basketball too. I play a lot of basketball. I was on the freshman team for the school last year, so I worked really hard, and then just like shooting outside, working on my game.
So you're kind of a sports nut, and you do study all the different statistics and what's happening now in all the different sports?
Yeah, I like to look at like stats for sports and how like individuals are doing in like teams too.
So what do you think about what's your opinion? Since you're watching it all, what do you think about the Detroit Tigers team?
Well, I think they're doing really good, you know. Like they have a 2-1 lead. It's like, I mean, really just getting to the playoffs. They worked really hard.
Did you expect it? I mean, could you in July say that, hey, they're going to be in the playoffs?
No, I definitely didn't really expect it, but like, I mean, I knew like they could do it as long, I mean, if they put their mind to it and they're really hardworking. So, and they have a really young team too, so that really helps them.
Good. You know, I have a color commentating job next year at football, so maybe if you're not playing football, you can come out there.
Yeah.
Austin, what are you going to do after high school?
So I haven't decided what I'm going to do for my degree. I just about a week ago got accepted into Oakland, and I plan on attending Oakland.
You going to play tennis there, you think? Or?
So I have a few offers from various, mostly Division III colleges, some Division IIs, but I'm just deciding to play club tennis for Oakland, the competitive team. Focus on school.
What do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, you're pretty grown up now, but what do you want to be when you get out of college?
I'm really still deciding that. I'm kind of just, seeing what my interests are. I'm praying about it as well, but I haven't made that decision yet.
Yeah, and you guys are coming back next year. What do you think about next year's team?
I feel like we have a good team like coming up next year because Cooper, Jaren's partner, he has a younger brother who just started to get back into it at the end of this season, Colton, and I think he's definitely a young talent that will do good in doubles next year. Our 6 doubles, Nolan and Drew, have really made improvement. Dom and Cormac as well at 5 doubles, and they're kind of older. They've been on varsity, so I think next year will be probably a little better than this year's team, if not similar.
Is that your opinion, Jaren? What do you think?
Yeah, I think like, I mean, we are losing 5 seniors, but we have a lot of other like people with good talent, and like everyone's just really hardworking. Like with Julian, like some freshmen this year that are coming up, like Colton too, Luca. I mean, I'm just really excited and looking forward to it because we're gonna work really hard this off season and hopefully be better than next season.
Well, we look forward to seeing that, gentlemen, because we'll be talking to you next year as well here on the Romeo Sports Recap. I thank you for coming on the show today, and wish you the best of luck in your future endeavor. You got some basketball to play. I think you do too.
Yeah.
And you're going to play or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, my gosh. So next season coming right up.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us here today in the Romeo Sports Recap. For the Mitt TV, I'm Tim Meyer. Good night, everyone. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to this episode of the Romeo Sports Recap Show, powered by the Mitt TV. Remember, this show is available on both YouTube and Spotify. You can subscribe to the Mitt TV YouTube page and click the notification bell to stay up to date on the latest episodes of the Romeo Sports Recap. Or you can find us on Spotify and follow our podcast, Romeo Sports Recap. From the Mitt TV, I'm Tim Meyer, signing off with a final word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and can even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvpodcast@gmail.com. That's mitt.tvpodcast@gmail.com.